Welcome back to the Mintner Method. I'm your host, Andrew Mintner, and on today's episode/video, we are going to dive into the Big Ten matchup between Indiana and Northwestern. So, to a lot of people's surprise, not really mine, Indiana has been super successful this year. And I had kind of said in articles and in previous, podcast episodes and stuff before I started doing videos, I felt like Indiana was a prime candidate for like the 6-win parlay for FanDuel and things like that. And the reason being is they brought in Kurt Signetti from James Madison and the entire James Madison staff. And so I was very confident that they were going to be able to turn it around. And then on top of that, they brought in Curtis Rourke from Ohio, who is a very good quarterback, even though, I am not one to be like, unfortunately, group of five quarterbacks, when they transfer to Power 5 or Power 4 conferences now, they usually don't do so well. But I felt like he was going to be under the radar with little expectations. And this coaching staff is legitimately probably a top 15 coaching staff in the entire country. And I believe that with no reservations. And so we've kind of seen the fruits of their labor very early on. And I feel like they're in just an absolute smash spot here against Northwestern. Now, it is a tough game because it will be on the road at Northwestern. But I feel like there are a couple of areas where they will just have an immense advantage. So on early downs, which, we're kind of keeping with the trend that we've been tracking for several weeks now, you can see Indiana is just the elite. They're 20th in early down pass EPA. They're 16th in early down rush EPA. And then they get that crucial top 15 ranking in early down EPA rank. And then as we're looking at Northwestern, they are very good against the run, which, they're going to want to run a little bit more on early downs than they probably should. But Northwestern is not good against the pass. They're bad against the pass on early downs. And that's going to be probably their best path to victory for Indiana, especially if they are looking to cover. So when we go to the offensive side, this is not shocking. And I'm not shocked. You shouldn't be shocked. I don't remember the last time Northwestern was really, really a threat offensively. It's like Iowa-esque, if I must say myself. They're just bad. They're 116th in early pass EPA, 106th in early rush EPA, and then 115th overall. And then Indiana, on the flip side of that, is actually really good. They're borderline elite on early downs defensively. So when we dive into the advanced statistics here, you're going to see a couple of strength-on-strength matchups when it comes to Indiana on offense versus Northwestern's defense. Northwestern is very good at limiting explosive plays, as they are 5th overall. But when it comes to producing havoc plays, not really that great, especially from the front seven point of view. And we're going to dive more into that and why that is here in a little bit. Very good against the run, 1st in limiting explosiveness, 8th in rush efficiency, much more prone to be attacked via the pass. 76th overall, just pretty much average. 13th overall in limiting passing explosiveness, which is really good. But when you're going up against an offense that's 2nd overall in over passing efficiency and still somewhat explosive, not like elite level explosive, but they're also not like a dink and dunk style offense, that can cause some problems. On the other side of the ball, there's not really anything I feel like I need to touch base here when it comes to Northwestern's offense. There's just a lot of red. They're not that great. They're not explosive. They're not efficient. They're just not good, And so when I look at Indiana, they're pretty solid, Their highest ranking on defense is 48th in any one of these categories. So they're top 50 in every single category we track here. That is very good. That's actually underrated, in my opinion. And so this is the statistic I wanted to kind of show you that I've been tracking. I started tracking last week. I hadn't implemented it into my handicapping process, but because it's kind of niche, but I feel like it's necessary. Excuse me, I've got a runny nose. My kids keep me sick. So anyway, when I look up here, this is what we have: non-blitz and blitz EPA. Okay. So Indiana is third overall in passing attempts where there is not a blitz. So a blitz constitutes 5 or more pass rushers. It's just that simple. So they're third overall. Now, I know you're like, oh, well, like the team's third overall. Well, yeah, but like Curtis Rourke is the team. So like, let me show you the statistics. Like, so you can just kind of, he's attempting everything but 12 attempts. So like that ranking is his ranking. Just own that, right? So they're third overall when not facing a blitz, and then they're 34th when facing a blitz. Now, obviously, there's not a giant discrepancy here, but the reason I wanted to show this versus like the other types of angles I'm taking where like you might have a team that's really good and then very bad, that's a good contrast, right? This is what I want to show. Indiana, third overall in non-blitz pass attempts, right? Well, Northwestern blitzes at the 132nd rate. So that's going to be third lowest. 9.3% of the time do they bring the blitz. That's not a lot. So on these passing attempts, he's going to be passing roughly 90% of the time against 3 or 4 pass rushers. And that has been shown, that they are just elite in that regard. Now, I know we need to probably take a look here and look at our opponents, right? Because it is important to take that into, effect. But, Florida International, obviously no good. Western Illinois, we can't really take much from that. But, UCLA, Maryland, they dominated. Now, nobody's saying, like, oh, these teams are supposed to be fantastical, But, like, Indiana, nobody had Indiana at the beginning of the year being this good. Like, nobody. Like, I had them for my 6-win parlay. I felt like they were a dark horse. But I did. If you would have asked me if they were going to start 6-0 going into the Nebraska game in 2 weeks, I'd be like, well, you're crazy. You're out of your damn mind. But here they are. Like, they are that good. And the coaching staff is that prepared. Now, this is really going to be a tougher matchup than I think when they went to UCLA and played. But it's still a road game. It is not their first road game, so that gives me a little bit of positive. And I just feel like from a schematic standpoint and an overall athletic standpoint, they're going to dominate. Like Northwestern is going to try to muck this game up and do their best, at doing that. But I just don't – they're not going to muck this game up the way they kind of want to. They mucked it up against Washington, and, even though it's an ugly score, they still got dominated. Mucked it up against Miami, Ohio. They're just not going to be able to do that. So we're going to take a look at their game logs defensively. And you can see against a formidable passing offense like Washington, they did struggle. 8.2 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Even Duke took it to them. Now, they had to throw the ball 40 times, but you just cannot allow – they're just not going to put the pressure. And this is one thing. If you're a team that doesn't like to blitz a lot, but you're good at causing pressure, then that's different, right? And I'll give you an example, okay? So let's take a look real quick. I will show you. All right. So right here we have Alabama, and, they're 15th in overall havoc, right? Now, a lot of that stems towards their defensive backs, but they're 71st in front 7 havoc. So that's still decent, right? That's decent enough, especially if your secondary is elite. But if I asked you what is Alabama's ranking when it comes to blitz percentage, I guarantee you would get it wrong. I guarantee it. And you want to know why? Because they're absolutely dead last in blitz percentage. 6.3%, okay? 6.3%. Now, that's my point, okay? If you're not blitzing a lot because your front 4 is just elite level and they're just, they're they're just getting after the quarterback. This just drop these 7 guys into coverage. Like, this is going to be a long day for everybody. That would be different. Northwestern is not that. They should be blitzing more, like literally, because they're giving these quarterbacks all day. And when I look at the schedule here, I mean, I would say Will Rogers is better than Curtis Rourke simply because he's played in the SEC, he has more experience. But nobody else on this list here, Brett Gabbert is not better than Curtis Rourke. Like, nobody, and they both played in the MAC together, So I think that, this game has a huge opportunity to just be another blowout for Indiana. I know that it was like 13.5 earlier in the week. It's probably 14 now. I haven't looked. I don't have the FanDuel tab up. But it's a spot that makes sense to me. We don't have any – let's take a look, make sure we're not missing anything realistically. The only big advantage that Northwestern has is they're coming off a bye week. And I think, yes, that is a big advantage, right? But it's not like Indiana's coming off some barn burner game against Maryland. They were up in that game the entire game, especially in the second half. And, it wasn't like, they were playing some super physical team that just was dominating them in the trenches. I think Northwestern having the extra week does matter in a sense, but I don't think it matters enough to make a difference in the spread of this game. But that's going to be it for this video. As always, if you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, comment if you have suggestions for other games. It is a little late in the week right now. If you make a suggestion on a Friday video, I'm just not going to get it in there. I'm sorry. I have a family and a life. But if you get in, I usually try to release videos Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you can get in anywhere in that range, I can probably make it to my schedule. I had several subscriber videos that I did this week that were not on my list of videos to do. I appreciate all the support. It's a very small channel. It's in its infancy, and we're just I just really enjoy it. It's a passion of mine. I'm fortunate enough to be able to do these breakdowns and dedicate time to it. So that's going to be it. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.